To all the real ones watching at the beginning of today's live show, welcome in to Steelers Talk Live. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and over the next hour or so, we've got extensive Steelers coverage for you guys in the middle of this beautiful week. It's it's a conference championship week here, producer Coop, and it's going to be a good one here on Steelers Talk because we're early into the offseason. There's lots of speculation going around, and we're going to be addressing a lot of it on today's show. First up, we got the latest Steelers news and rumors. I'm going to let you guys know why I'm starting to warm a little bit to the idea of getting either Sam Darnold or Justin Fields as this team's starting quarterback. We also got some trade and draft rumors we're going to be talking about today. George Pickens is going to be on my list of trade candidates today for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Coop, got 5 Steelers trade candidates we're going to be getting to for our final segment today. Coop's already waving his towel. You guys know what that means, folks. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. Here we go, Steelers, here we go. What's up, Coop? How are you doing this week, my friend? You ready to talk some Steelers football?
Oh, yeah, I am. Well, I do just wish the Steelers were still playing.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, I think when this team was sitting at 10-3, we thought we had a legitimate chance to be playing on this weekend. But alas, 6 straight losses and a bad taste in your mouth to finish off the season, and now we're looking for a new quarterback. We're looking for help at wide receiver.
That'll get you.
You know, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to be making any major changes in the coaching staff, especially in the big seats. Head coach, OC, and DC look like they're all staying here in Pittsburgh. Let us know who the real ones are down there in the comment section. Only the real ones show up at the beginning of the show here. So let us know down there in the chat. We'll give some shout-outs here. I want to say a big thank you to Tristan White, Daniel Barry Sports, Jonathan Areola. What a name right there. We got Voxy. We got DeBoy. We got Coop like that name right there. We got Kobe Wolf. Got Michael. We got Lumia. We got Oliver. We got Connor. We've got RC Pond. We've got Sir Alex the Great. We got Voxy. Of course, we got Cassie Voth, my girlfriend, in the chat. Everybody give Cassie a little bit of love here to start today's show. She does a lot for our channel. Pizza is Goated is here. We got Voxy again. Taylon Baker. Got Derek Smith. What's up, Derek? Good to see you. We got Andrew Flynn in here. Kareem Richardson stopped by today. What's up, Kareem? We got Dwayne Johnson. Got Sugar Ray Robinson Jr. We got Jimmy Gupio. Is that how you say that? Mike G is here. We've got Brian Penn. We got Darrell Wright. We got a good crew of people to talk some Steelers football with us today here, Coop. So before we get into our first segment today, guys, I want to give a big shout-out to our sponsor today at GameTime, which is the best place for you to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. GameTime has a new feature on their app called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is select the GameTime Picks button at the top of the screen whenever you get into an event you want to go see. Penguins currently middle of their season right now. If you want to go see the Pens play, you guys can select the GameTime Picks button at the top of the screen when you click into a game you want to go see, and then GameTime's automatically going to filter through their entire database to find you the best deals on every single ticket in their database. So what I love about using the GameTime app and why it's the only ticketing app I have on my phone right now is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing on every single ticket as well, so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. So if you guys want to get on the show today, you got a comment, you got a question, whatever the case may be, if you want to get on the show today, all you have to do is send in any dollar amount super chat to get on the show. So if you have a question about the draft, about free agency, about a trade rumor, whatever the case may be, you guys can get on the show and I'll address that topic if you guys send in a super chat. Any amount today. We do have a donation menu today, guys, up to $20. All that great stuff, but you guys can, of course, donate more if you feel so inclined. Any super chat you're going to get on the show today, $5, we'll do a Here We Go Steelers chant. Coop and I will wave the towel around for you guys. $10, we'll spin the wheel, and then $20, we'll spin the wheel 3 times for you. plus I owe you 10 push-ups, all right? So $20, 3 wheel spins, 10 push-ups, $10, spin the wheel once, $5, here we go, Steelers chance, and any super chat you get on the show. Also, I do want to kind of push you guys more towards Venmo, Cashapp, and PayPal because we're not going to say no to Super Chats, but YouTube takes a 30% cut of every single dollar you send in via Super Chats, and then if you send it in on an Apple product, they take another 10%. So we're only getting 60% of the revenue on every single Super Chat you guys send in, but if you send it in via Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal, more of that money goes towards improving our graphics, improving our equipment, improving our office space. We put in a lot of work here at Steelers Talk, guys, to give you guys the best damn Steelers coverage money can buy, 100% free for people of Steelers Nation to enjoy. So if you guys appreciate the hard work that we put in for you guys can send in a donation. Plus, we'll spin the wheel for you. Coop, what kind of items do we have on our wheel today? We got push-ups, we got jumping jacks. Do we have shots on there?
No shots.
What else do we got?
Some secret items.
Apparently, we've got some secret items here from Mr. Coop. I also want to give a big shout out here to somebody that put in a Cash App last show that I didn't get to. That would be, who had this again? Let me just check here real quick. Donna Elliott. Donna, if you're watching, I'm sorry I didn't get to your $10 Cash App. We'll spin the wheel for you after we go over our Black Diamonds today. Guys, this is where you guys can send in your Venmos, Cash Apps, or PayPals on today's show to help us have some fun this afternoon. So, Coop, you want to tell them about Black Diamonds here and what they can get when they join the Black Diamond Club?
Sure. Our Black Diamond Club is people who have donated $500 or more on one singular stream, or they had it donated by a generous benefactor such as Platinum 666 or 66666 or Kurgan Cold. And Black Diamond, I know it's very hard to get, but what it is you donate $500 on a singular stream, which means you get a Super Chat sticker for the rest of your life here on Steelers Talk, and you become a part of a club that now has over 70 members in it. So if you would like to become a Black Diamond, you can either donate $500 or maybe someone will feel generous enough to donate themselves, and then they will go ahead and do that for you and nominate you to become a Black Diamond.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Coop. Big shout out to all of our Black Diamonds. These are all the stickers. And if you guys want to get a sticker of your own and get a jersey for our watch parties for next season, you guys can send in $500, or you can be a real one. Join us for every single live show, all that great stuff. Follow me on Twitter, all that great stuff. And then when Platinum or Kurgan donates another sticker, we'll think of you first up on our list. So you guys can follow me on Twitter at Jack_Sperry for Steelers takes every single day. Draft analysis, I'm really going to be getting into that over the next several weeks. You guys can also follow us on IG at SteelersCS. We put out daily shorts on there every single day. Coop, we put one out earlier today about Justin Fields and using VR technology to potentially make him a future superstar quarterback here in Pittsburgh. It's really interesting stuff. So you guys can follow us on IG at SteelersCS if you want to push that across there, Mr. Coop. And then before we get going on our first segment today, all I ask that you guys do here, we got over 100 people in this chat room right now. Click that thumbs up icon, all right? Can we get to at least 30 likes before we get into our first segment today? I'd really appreciate it. It helps out the YouTube algorithm so we can get as many Steelers fans in here as humanly possible here on a beautiful Thursday. So if you guys want this stream to do the best it can possibly be, click that thumbs up icon and spam those me's. I want to see all the real ones in the chat right now. We got Gary Frank, my man. We got Pickens Burner. We've got Jonathan Areola, one of my favorite names. We got Kareem Richardson. Got Michael Dormant here. Type those me's. We got Omar's Burner in here. What's up, Omar? I was just talking with Omar before we got on stream here, Coop.
Sure.
Talking a little Jalen Milroe and the possibility of the Steelers getting him. We got Doomify. Got Derek Smith. We got Rodolfo in here. Mike G. We got Aiden Beast in here. We got a good crew of Steelers fans in here. We got DeBoy 650. Got a good crew of Steelers fans here watching Steelers Talk Live. We got Javon coming in with a $2 super chat. Shout out to Javon. Javon, if you got a question that you want to get on the show, just let us know in the live chat, and we'll put you up on screen for that $2 super chat. So on today's show, guys, first segment, latest Steelers news and rumors. There's some free agency speculation. There's also some quarterback speculation that we'll go into in our first segment here. Second segment, I'm going to go over all the top NFL draft analysts around the world right now and who they have the Steelers taking in their first mock drafts of the draft season. And we'll finish up today's show with the top 5 most likely Steelers to be traded this offseason. I'm not going to make you guys wait any longer. Let's get into our first segment of the day. The latest Steelers news and rumors are coming at you guys right now. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a bunch of Steelers news and rumors to cover with you guys here on a beautiful Thursday afternoon. First up, I'm going to let you guys know why I'm warming up to the idea of the Steelers either bringing in Sam Darnold or Justin Fields to be this team's starting quarterback in 2025. Number two, I'm going to talk about the two players that Pro Football Focus predicts the Steelers will sign in free agency this year. We'll finish up today's show with a new George Pickens trade idea from the 33rd team that is certainly a little bit spicy. So before we get into the content today, make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already and join the largest individually run Steelers news community anywhere on YouTube. We give you guys daily Steelers videos here on the platform, breaking news coverage whenever Omar Khan makes a big move during the offseason. Weekly live shows, we have 2 a week, plus if there's breaking news and it's a really big story, we go live for that. It's all 100% free, guys. We now have over 75,000 Steelers fans subscribed to the channel, so help us get to 76,000 here by clicking that subscribe button right now. So personally, guys, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of Sam Darnold being the next Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback heading into the 2025 season and beyond. And the reason why I'm starting to warm up to the idea is because the Minnesota Vikings this year invested in a VR quarterback training technology called Cognize, or at least that's the company that owns this VR experience that has helped quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota this year in Washington, and then the Minnesota Vikings are the other NFL team that has embraced this VR technology that has really helped these quarterbacks take their game to a whole nother level. We broke down this technology, why it works, and why it could help out Justin Fields specifically in a video we put out earlier this week. So if you guys want to see why this technology is revolutionary and why I think the Steelers should adopt it, I'm going to put the link to that one in the comments and description of today's show. And listen, man, the result of Sam Darnold using this VR technology to help his mental processing was he had the best season of his career, and it wasn't even close. All right, you guys can take a look at the numbers. The career averages for Sam Darnold versus what he did in Minnesota this year. The completion percentage jumped 5 points, which is just insane, ladies and gentlemen. The yards per attempt, almost a full yard more per attempt. The touchdown percentage jumped significantly. The interception percentage maybe still a little bit too high, but it's still significantly lower than it was before this year in Minnesota. And then the quarterback rating jumped almost 20 points. Okay, so Sam Darnold definitely made a huge improvement here in 2024 compared to the stats that he put up previously in his NFL career. And it's, I think, a lot to do with the VR headsets. And also, I think that Sam Darnold, his skill set as a passer fits really nicely in the kind of offense Arthur Smith wants to run. I mean, maybe Sam Darnold's best trait is that he can mentally process a defense, full field reads. It's what he did best there with the Minnesota Vikings in 2024 this season. And you guys can see here, I think he's got excellent size. He's over 220 pounds. This guy's pretty thick, guys. And then you got the arm talent that is phenomenal, can throw to all levels of the field with touch and accuracy. The middle of the field efficiency, especially when he was targeting guys like Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson this year, was just absolutely off the charts. And then his mental processing speed, you could definitely tell, went up significantly from his previous seasons with other teams like the Carolina Panthers, San Francisco 49ers, and of course the New York Jets. But he is a little bit over aggressive at times, guys. He can put the ball in harm's way a little bit too much. He does hold on to the ball a little bit too long. He likes to really hunt the deep ball. And then, this year he kind of showed a little bit of the yips in the big games. Didn't play well in the Vikings' 2 biggest games of the year. And that's certainly something that's going to have to get better if he becomes the next starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the reason why I'm optimistic about Sam Darnold and why I would be okay with the Steelers making a move to make him this team's next franchise quarterback is because I think his weaknesses will continue to deteriorate and fade the longer he uses this VR technology from Cognize. And I think, that he is going to pretty much demand that the next team that he goes to and the team that he chooses invests in this technology because it definitely helped out his numbers this year. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So I think Darnold, part of his free agency process here, the team that he decides to go to, the team is going to have to invest and really bring in this new school technology because I think, Jaden Daniels made this a condition for whatever team was going to draft him. Washington brought it in and drafted him number 2 overall. I think it's going to be a similar thing here for Sam Darnold. Darnold, because all these quarterbacks that use this VR technology to help their mental processing ability, they swear by it, and the numbers and the production backs that up. But I am very optimistic about Sam Darnold. I'd be okay with him being the next quarterback of the Steelers. You could certainly make the argument that this kind of VR technology could be extremely beneficial for Justin Fields as well. And you can certainly make an argument that Fields has an even higher ceiling than Sam Darnold possesses, in terms of their physical skill set. Obviously, Justin is a much more dynamic rusher of the football than Sam is. And I would even argue a better passer outside of structure than Sam Darnold is in this point in their respective careers. So listen, man, I think that the best case for Justin Fields for QB1 of this football team moving forward is a pretty darn good one. All right, in the AFC, there are multiple first ballot Hall of Fame type of quarterbacks. Or you got Patrick Mahomes, you've got Lamar Jackson, you got Josh Allen. And, to get through those three teams over the next decade, you can make an argument in order to beat those teams and beat those dudes at quarterback, you have to have a dude of your own. And Justin Fields has the highest upside of any quarterback available to the Steelers this offseason. But you have to acknowledge that going with him as your starting quarterback does come with risks. All right, here was his advanced metrics with the Pittsburgh Steelers last season. None of them in the top 16, the top half of the league. Most of them are in the mid-20s among NFL quarterbacks last year. The EPA per attempt, and by the way, that includes his rushing attempts, only 25th in the National Football League. That was lower than guys like Russell Wilson, for example, who is getting run out of this football team right now. The catchable ball percentage was 24th, so accuracy is still a little bit of an issue. And despite the fact he was 24th in average depth of target, he's still only 24th in catchable ball percentage. So that's not really a encouraging stat combination there. He was 23rd in yards per attempt, 29th in big-time throw percentage, so he wasn't really fitting it in to tight windows down the field, making those big-time plays that elevate an offense. The turnover-worthy play percentage was 22nd, had a lot of fumbles last season. And then the average time to throw is still way too long at 3.04 seconds. That ranked 40th in the National Football League. But maybe, just maybe, a risk is exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers need at quarterback right now. All right, maybe you just have to, dive in head first into the deep end here and hope that Justin Fields, in this massive physical skill set that he possesses in the second year of Arthur Smith's system, can have a big breakout season, especially if you invest in VR technology like in Cognilyze. I think Justin Fields could certainly have an opportunity to be the next superstar quarterback in the AFC and catapult the Steelers to Super Bowl contention. But there's no question about it, he is 100% a risk if the Steelers decide to turn to him this offseason. So pick a quarterback for me down there in the comment section. Who would you rather have as QB1 of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Type SD for Sam Darnold or type JF for Justin Fields. Honestly, I might even lean a little bit towards Justin Fields because I think he's got the higher upside and he's going to be cheaper than Sam Darnold is. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section for today's pinned comment. In just a second here, I'm going to talk about our sponsor today at Public Rec. While I'm talking about our sponsor today, go down there, find that pinned comment, and let me know which quarterback you'd rather have in the black and gold next year. Okay, now let's talk about our friends at Public Rec. And let's be real, guys. Wearing uncomfortable clothes just isn't worth it anymore. Why settle for stiff, restricting fabric when you can have something that looks sharp and feels as comfy as your favorite sweats? This year, make the switch to Public Rec, where comfort rules. Public Rec isn't just about pants, guys. It's about making sure you stay comfortable no matter what your day throws at you. They have so many great style options that are perfect for just hanging around the house, drinking beers on the golf course, or even when you need to impress the boss in the office. Whatever pants you choose, you'll be blown away by how comfortable they are. And for a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off their entire order when you use code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off your entire order when you use promo code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. And let me tell you guys, man, this is the most comfortable clothing I have ever put on my body, and that is not an exaggeration. All right? Like, I'm wearing one of their shirts right now. I wear them all the time. I wear them pretty much every single day because they're super breathable, but yet they're still made with like quality materials, so they're warm during the winter as well. And then the pants, I mean, what's a big game changer for me, guys, is the tailored, customizable sizing options, because most pants, because I'm tall and skinny, you guys know this, it's either too long, it's either too wide, or it's too short. And, for me, like with Public Rec, I can customize my pant size, and it looks perfect on me, all right? Plus, it's made with premium materials, so it's perfect to wear in the summer, in the winter, any time of the year. It makes you look good. It makes you feel good. It's absolutely fantastic, guys. So make your New Year's resolution a comfortable one today. No more pants that pinch, tug, or annoy. For a limited time only, you guys get 20% off at Public Rec by using our code CHAT20 at checkout. Just head on over to publicrec.com and use code CHAT20 and you're all set. Oh, and when you ask them when they ask you how you found them, be sure to mention our show Steelers Talk by Chat Sports because it really does help us out. Find your perfect fit and never compromise on comfort again. Public Rec, where comfort rules. So in a recent article released by Pro Football Focus, they say the Pittsburgh Steelers should make 2 splash signings this offseason. Number one, they say go out and get veteran cornerback DJ Reed, formerly with the New York Jets, and then sign Amari Cooper, who is currently still playing for the Buffalo Bills this season. So we'll start with DJ Reed, what Mason Cameron, the author of these articles, had to say about Reed to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Reed enters free agency after notching his 6th straight season with an overall grade above 70, accomplishing the feat across 3 different franchises. In 2024, he recorded a 51.28 lockdown percentage, continuing a trend of standout play that defined his time in New York, while he ranked in the 91st percentile among outside cornerbacks over 3 seasons. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who rely heavily on their corners in closed coverages, the highest rate in the NFL this past season, would be a natural fit for Reed. Pairing him with rising star Joey Porter Jr. could solidify their secondary and enable the Steelers to maintain their aggressive defensive identity. And listen, man, I think that getting that number 2 cornerback spot this free agency or in the draft is going to be 100% one of the biggest needs that the Steelers need to address. I don't think Dante Jackson is a good fit for what the Steelers want to do moving forward. I thought he was really bad in man coverage, and the Steelers want to play a lot of man coverage, especially against teams like Cincinnati and Baltimore. I think DJ Reed would be a perfect fit. He's a great veteran, and right now Pro Football Focus projects that the Steelers could get him for a 3-year, $14 million per season contract. I think for somebody that's had this kind of track record, I think that's more than a fair price, guys. I would absolutely pull the trigger and bring DJ Reed to the Pittsburgh Steelers because the Steelers do play lots of closed coverages. That means just one single high safety, and they really do trust their corners to hold up on the outside. So you need to get somebody that you could trust in man coverage. I think DJ Reed fits that bill, and I think the price tag is worth it over 3 seasons. Now let's talk about Amari Cooper here. Mason thinks it's a good fit, and this is why. The 30-year-old Cooper will have his fair share of suitors on the open market, likely teams looking to add quality veteran leadership to their receiver room. What better place to provide a presence than a team with a history of animated receivers like Pittsburgh? The Steelers were actively shopping for receiving help at the trade deadline, with reports linking them to several options, including the former Brown. Talking about Cooper there. Pairing the even-keeled Cooper with George Pickens would be a prudent move to calm the Steelers' receiver room and split defensive attention. Listen, man, I don't think this is necessarily a good idea for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I talked about it in my show yesterday where I think Cooper is starting to hit a cliff a little bit, and I think we see that with his production in a really, really good Buffalo Bills offense this year where it wasn't good in Cleveland, and it's been, not even that much better with Buffalo, which, they got Josh Allen, arguably the MVP of the league this year, and he still only surpassed 4 touchdowns this year. The average this year is pretty decent, still a decent deep threat. He's a bigger-bodied receiver, can make contested catches still. But last year was a really awesome season for him in Cleveland. This year, not so much. And I think that he is regressing physically a little bit based on what we're seeing on Buffalo's film. And honestly, he's not even the number 1 receiver in Buffalo this year. And that's saying something given their wide receiver core right now. So the PFF projected contract, it's even more than DJ Reed. 2 years, $17.5 million per season. I think that's way too much for a declining talent like Cooper. And honestly, I think the Steelers might want to trade George Pickens. So the idea that, you bring in Cooper to kind of tame George Pickens and teach him how to be a pro or whatever. I'm just not sure if that's going to be the case. And speaking of George Pickens trade rumors, there's a new trade idea that was put out by the 33rd team earlier this week. By the way, George Pickens responded to this idea earlier this week. I actually reacted to that on yesterday's show. But let's talk about this trade idea here because they put this up on their social media platforms this week. George Pickens for a 2025 second-round pick. Send him to the Washington Commanders. All right. And personally, guys, I think if a team is willing to give me a second-round pick for George Pickens, I'm taking that in a heartbeat. I think the Steelers are taking that in a heartbeat. I love George Pickens' skill set, and if the Steelers can find a way to keep George Pickens happy, and all these different things, and improve the punctuality, improve the professionalism, improve the effort issues that we've seen on his film the last 3 seasons. I would love for him to be a Steeler for life, but it certainly seems like the Steelers are kind of looking like they want to move on from George Pickens. They want to revamp this wide receiver room. And, I'm not sure if Washington would trade a second-round pick for Pickens because there are risks involved in bringing in Pickens. This is somebody where it's pretty well established. He doesn't show up to meetings on time. He doesn't show up to practices on times. He doesn't show up to games on time regularly. Like just this past year on Christmas, he didn't show up to the game on time, according to Mike Florio. So, there's certainly risks involved with getting George Pickens, but the talent is unbelievable. So it's going to be weird to see how the trade market kind of values Pickens this year because you are taking on risk, but he is also an unbelievable talent that could certainly be a great addition to Jaden Daniels in the Commanders' receiving room. Let me know down there in the comments section, would you take a second-round pick from Washington for George Pickens? Type A for accept or D for decline. Keep in mind this would be kind of a later second-round pick because the Commanders are playing on Championship Sunday here. So make sure you guys type A for accept or D for decline if you would trade Pickens for a second-rounder and send him to the nation's capital. Before I go here, I do want to give a big congratulations to TJ Watt for being a Defensive Player of the Year finalist. I will say that his ankle injury certainly put a damper on his production to finish the season. And it really is a shame that he wasn't really 100% ready to go come playoff time because that might have made a little bit of a difference in helping the defense play a bit better. But I think that, that declining production at the end of the season is probably going to mean he doesn't win this award. He is a finalist, so congratulations to TJ. But the other candidates here, Myles Garrett and Trey Hendrickson. I think Hendrickson, the leader in sacks in the National Football League this year, is probably the favorite to win it, but I also think Patrick Surtain will also have a chance to win it as well as the number 1 corner in the National Football League. And how about Zach Bond as an inside linebacker getting on this list as well? Congratulations to all these guys. Myles Garrett can, whatever with him, but congratulations to TJ. Hopefully he wins it. I don't think he will. Honestly, he was more deserving of it last year, but it's certainly great and a great honor to be a finalist for any major award, especially Defensive Player of the Year. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your support and making it to the end of today's show. It really does help out this channel. So make sure you click that subscribe button if you enjoy our content here on Steelers Talk. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, Javon coming in with a 5. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. There we go, Javon says, will the Steelers invest in the tech? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I have my doubts of that, Javon. I really do. But that's why, I'd be okay with bringing in Sam Darnold because he's going to say you have to
or I'm not signing.
Or I'm not signing.
Yeah.
So if the Steelers really like him and they really want him, then, maybe, getting Sam Darnold to bring in this technology would be a benefit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like maybe if they bring back Justin Fields, they don't bring in this technology and he stinks again next year.
He also had another one. He said, should Mike Tomlin bring back Mike Williams or Dante Jackson?
Before I answer, here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Javon, I don't think they're going to bring back either. I think Mike Williams makes sense for a Russell Wilson-led offense with the deep shots and the go balls down the sideline, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be running that quote unquote Russ offense again next year. They're going to run something akin to what Arthur Smith usually likes to run, which is a true West Coast system. Russell Wilson's not really a good fit in that kind of offense, so I don't think Mike Williams will return next year. And then Dante Jackson, I hope he's not back. Now, he didn't run into 5 interceptions this year.
But he was ass.
But he was terrible in man coverage. I mean, how many times did Jamar Chase absolutely toast him? How many times?
Wasn't he graded 115th out of 117?
Yeah. He was not good in coverage this year whatsoever, and I think the Steelers need to do a lot better at that position. Now, there are reports out there, maybe Dante's leaking this out to the media or something like that, but apparently the Steelers are interested in bringing him back, and Dante's interested in coming back. And
take a minimum, Dante.
I wouldn't even want him back for that.
No.
I mean, he had a nose for the football this year, but that's really the only positive thing I can say about him. He's undersized, so he can get bullied, on the run game and in the screen game. He's not good in coverage. He's got wheels. He's fast, but and he's got decent instincts, but I think that the Steelers, with as much man coverage as they run, they need to do better than him. Gary Frank, $5. What's up, Gary? Says, I'd rather keep Fields and buy the tech. With the tech, you can cultivate a better backup as well. Yeah, and another 5. So here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Yeah, Gary, you know, this is something that I'd be okay with, all right? If you're going to be sticking with Fields as your QB1, I think that you got to invest in this technology, all right?
I don't disagree whatsoever. I just don't see the Steelers doing it.
That's the thing, man. Like, I'm not sure if I do see the Steelers doing it. Like, when I think of the Steelers, we said this on Monday's show. I think of like the old people, the old scouts in the scouting room in the movie Moneyball. You know, they're talking about Fabio in there, right? They're not, you know, and Justin Fields is the ultimate Fabio, right? Yeah. He is big, he is fast, he's got a big arm. You know, he is Fabio. He's football. Fabio. He is football Fabio. But as Billy Beane said in that movie, if he's a good hitter, why doesn't he hit good?
Yep.
And Justin Fields, the question is, if he's a good quarterback, why is his numbers not good?
Yep.
Why is his production not good?
If he's a good quarterback, why is he on his second team already?
Yeah, and you know, there's a lot of excuses that people can make. You know, he didn't have the right infrastructure in Chicago. All these different things. He hasn't had the proper help, and maybe part of that is part of the reason. But I think the biggest reason why Fields hasn't broken out yet, and not to say he can't still do it, but the reason why he hasn't to this point is because his mental processing speed is among the lowest in the National Football League. He takes forever to get through a read, and very rarely does he get to his third or fourth progression. And he needs to do a better job knowing what he's looking at when he's reading a defense. And if he doesn't do that, he's going to be a limited quarterback. That's just the truth of it. Now, you know, have we seen quarterbacks develop their mental processing in the past?
Sure.
Yes, especially if they're using the VR tech that we're talking about here. If he can, you know, increase his mental processing speed by 50%. All right, Jaden Daniels claims it's 80%. If Fields even improves it by 50%, he could be a top 15 quarterback in the league next year.
Absolutely.
Maybe even top 10 with the way he can move. All right, and the way he can throw the football. So I'm a believer in Justin Fields if they can get the VR tech, but the question is, are they going to invest? And I'm not sure if they will.
Another 5 from Gary. He says if you buy the tech, both QBs can learn the same skills to better the team because they play the same game.
Well, this is a good point here, Gary, because look at Marcus Mariota in Washington this year.
Having a great year.
I mean, unbelievable. He played in 3 games this year, and he looked, you know, I'm not going to say as good as Jaden Daniels, but he looked like an NFL starting quarterback out there. All right, it's not like Washington has a great O-line or that they have like a stacked wide receiver room. Marcus Mariota was super impressive this year using this technology, and we talked about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's numbers got better using this technology this year. So I think that the proof is in the pudding. This stuff works. This tech works. If the Steelers want to make Justin Fields work and turn him into the next superstar quarterback, I think they got to invest in this stuff. $5 from Vibin says Will Howard, Kyle Allen, Skylar Thompson. That should be the quarterback room.
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Vibin. I know you're just joking, but I appreciate you. $5. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. You know, Will Howard, I think is he's got career backup written all over him to me.
Oh yeah.
I think he might be a decent backup in the league, but I currently have a round 4 grade on him. I'm going to be watching more film. I've only watched 2 games on film from him, but you can tell a lot about a quarterback in 2 games, all right? So maybe things will change once I see the national championship game, other things, but to me, he screams backup quarterback in the National Football League. Javon, another 5. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Says Tomlin will not let Pickens go at all. Only way Pickens leaves Pittsburgh is if he requests a trade. Otherwise, no need to entertain the idea. Well, here's the thing, Javon. I think he requests a trade.
He might.
Because here's what my prediction is. I think the Steelers, their plan is to keep Pickens, but on his rookie contract. All right, he's entering the final year of his deal, and I think what the Steelers are going to say is, you're going to play on the final year of your deal. We're not going to give you an extension. And then what I think Pickens is going to do is say, I'm not playing next year if I don't have a new deal for myself locked up. Because I think that he views himself as a top 10 receiver in the game, and you can make a good argument for that. But I just don't think Pittsburgh, with the punctuality issues, with being late to games, with the effort issues that we've seen, I don't think they're going to pay him $28+ million per season on an extension this year.
Absolutely.
So I think that, those are two things they just can't be reconciled, and I think at the end of the day, he'll request a trade, and the Steelers will oblige. Vibin, again, says that has to do with his epilepsy meds. It slows down his processing. My mom is a doctor. She told me that's what those meds do. That is what...
I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor at all, but, I don't even know what to say to this. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to claim to say whatever about that particular topic. John Stevenson, $2, says, why not draft...
He means good.
...a good breakaway back with speed? There's no reason not to, John. I think Jaylen Warren has some pretty decent speed, he has a really good jump cut. He makes people miss, great contact balance. But I think the Steelers need a true game changer at RB1, and I think that's what they're going to be. Coop is going to the bathroom here real quick. So we'll talk about the running back position while Coop runs to the bathroom and we get to our next segment here. We got some super chats to get to here. Make sure you guys get those super chats in if you got something you want to say. But when it comes to the running back position, I think you got to spend an early draft pick on one this year, because I don't love a lot of the options in free agency, like Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. I just don't love. J.K. Dobbins always injured. I don't love any of the options in free agency. So I think what you do is you bring back Jaylen Warren, who's a restricted free agent this year. And then in the draft, this is an excellent running back class. If you can get Ashton Janty in the first round, great. If not, no big deal. There's some other really, really good running backs that you can get on day 2. R.J. Harvey out of UCF. If you haven't seen his highlight tape yet, man, it's special, all right? He actually reminds me a little bit of Le'Veon Bell with the acceleration and patience that Le'Veon played with. R.J. Harvey reminds me a lot of that. So if that's a name to keep your eye on, if you're going to look up one person to watch highlights of today, R.J. Harvey, UCF highlights. I promise you will not be disappointed. Also, Caleb Johnson out of Iowa is somebody I think could really fit here in Pittsburgh. He reminds me a little bit of James Conner, actually. Runs really, really hard. Then, Omarion Hampton out of UNC is very good as well. Dylan Sampson is a burner out of Tennessee. You could certainly see him in a Steelers uniform as well. There's a lot of really good running backs in this class, man. And, they're going to be available in round 2, maybe even in round 3, and they can make an impact on day 1 as the number 1 running back of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I think that Janty gives you the highest probability of the guy being a game changer, but there's a lot of potential game changers in this draft. So I think that the Steelers will use an early draft pick on a running back. It's just a matter of what round and which one. And, I think there's a lot of great options to choose from, and I'd be happy with a bevy of different options. I do want to address the live poll that we have today, guys. What position should the Steelers prioritize in round 1 of the draft? 71% said wide receiver. And we've talked about on this show, Coop, as Coop gets back from how was your trip?
Very relieving.
He said very relieving. I think wide receiver is the most likely position the Steelers use their first-round draft pick on, because the only running back I think I'd use the first-round pick on is Janty, and I'm not sure if he makes it to the Steelers. I don't think he makes it to the Steelers. So that would mean you're taking someone like a Luther Burden III. You're taking somebody like an Emeka Egbuka. You're taking somebody like maybe a Jaden Higgins out of Iowa State, depending on how high he rises up the ranks here. By the way, we still have to spin the wheel, Coop, for I'm sorry, what is her name? Donna Elliott for putting in the 10. So let's spin that real quick. And then we got another 10 coming in from my man Javon, so we'll get to his wheel spin here in just a second as well. Still got 2 more segments to come here on Steelers Talk Live. Hope you got a drink in your hand. Hopefully you're having a great Thursday afternoon. We're chopping it up, talking Steelers football with all of you guys. Shout out to Mike G in here, Fisher Productions, Cheeseball, John Stevenson, Dominic is here. What's up, Dominic? We got Doomify in here. Got a good crew. Kevin Reed is here. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you. Vibing with the dogs, of course. Myas is here. Says, what's up, Koopy? And also Jackie. And also Koopy. What a crazy Dallas Mavericks game yesterday.
It was unbelievable, Myas. Thank you for tuning in.
So this one's for Donna Elliott. And she gets a here we go Steelers. Here we go Steelers. Here we go. There we go. And let's put up Javon's $10 super chat here.
We will, but we'll spin the wheel first.
All right, so Javon, here's your wheel spin. We'll put your super chat up here in just a second. Oh, baby.
No,
all right.
land on the other one.
Oh, what is the other one?
You don't know.
Say something nice about what? About Justin Fields?
No.
What is it? I guess we'll have to find
You'll
out if
have
it goes
to
on
find
there.
out.
All right, Coop, give some shout-outs while I do these jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Javon will get your super chat up on
7,
here.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Javon
16,
says, oh, good God.
17,
Here's an
18,
idea.
19,
What
20.
if we get Malik Willis and Javonte Williams, who I really rank higher than Najee when they got drafted?
Thing about Javonte is he's had some really bad lower body injuries,
Yes, he has.
and he's not nearly as dynamic as he was when he was coming out of UNC.
And Malik Willis is cheeks.
Malik Willis, he played better.
He did.
This year.
He actually did.
In some pretty major stat categories this year. It was a limited sample size, but there are some people in the Packers community that thought Willis played better than Jordan Love this year.
No, thank you.
And I'm gonna say no thank you to Malik Willis, but obviously he's the super athletic quarterback type that Tomlin loves. But you know what? Who else is super dynamic and is raw upside? Justin Fields.
Yeah, he is.
I said it earlier on our draft rumors video. Why would you get Jalen Milroe when you could have Justin Fields, who's a better version of Jalen Milroe? It just doesn't make sense to me why we would look at these other raw upside type guys when we've got the raw upside guy in Justin Fields. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And I don't think Javonte Williams is an option, Javon, but I appreciate you. Did some 20 jumping jacks for you. All right, we just got a Venmo here.
After this, we'll get into the segment.
I'm actually not sure. No, never mind. We don't have a Venmo.
Good?
I got a Venmo, but it's not for the show.
Not show related.
It's not show related. It is Sperry personal related.
All right.
So let's get into our next segment here. Keep getting in those super chats. Keep sending in those Venmos and those Cash Apps and those PayPals. I greatly appreciate your guys' support. We're here to talk Steelers football with you guys, man. We do these segments, but we're really here to embrace this community, talk Steelers football with you guys here in the middle of the week. So if you got questions, whatever, make sure you use #Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. Let's get into our next segment here. Mock Draft Roundup coming your way right now. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today more Steelers draft rumors here, where I'm going to be breaking down 4 recent NFL mock drafts from ESPN, CBS, and Pro Football Focus, letting you know what all the top draft experts in the NFL media have for the Steelers in round 1 of their first 2025 mock drafts of the draft season. Before we get into it, we're going to be doing a lot of draft coverage on my X account because that's where I can put my film analysis. If we put film on this channel, we get demonetized, all right? So I put a lot of my film analysis out on Twitter. So if you want to see my film analysis on all the top NFL draft prospects this year, you guys can find me at Jack_Sperry. Really do appreciate your guys' support on there. And without further ado, let's get into these mock drafts here, starting with Jordan Reed from ESPN, and he has the Steelers taking East Carolina cornerback Siobhan Revel Jr., somebody that a lot of Steelers fans are pointing out is an excellent fit for this football team. Jordan Reed said this about the pick: the play outside Joey Porter Jr. at the CB2 spot has remained inconsistent, as neither Dante Jackson nor Cameron Sutton has been the answer. Prior to suffering a torn ACL, Revel was making his mark as one of the class's top corners with 2 picks in 3 games. At 6'3", 193 pounds, he has great length, mobility, ability, ball skills, and enthusiasm as a tackler, all traits Pittsburgh looks for in its corners. And as Jordan points out here, just schematically, just based on skill set wise, Siobhan Revel Jr. is like the perfect Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback. I actually have a higher grade on the field on Siobhan Revel Jr. than I had on Joey Porter Jr. I think he's a faster, a little bit more disciplined version of Joey Porter Jr. I think that highly of this young man. Take a look at my scouting report here. Crazy arm length. I mean, tell me if you've heard that one before. That was my note on Joey Porter Jr. But the size is really, really good at 193 pounds as well. So he's got the size you're looking for. The long speed is better than Joey Porter Jr.'s. His recovery speed is just really, really phenomenal. The hip fluidity, he can turn those hips and run with anybody in the game. He's got a dog mentality, man. He puts his face in the fan, and he's not afraid, to hit people hard, all these different things. I think Mike Tomlin's going to fall in love with his tape in that regard. He's a man coverage specialist, still has a little bit of work to do in terms of his zone instincts, but I think he's perfectly fine playing in zone as well. But the concerns are with his injury, that ACL tear. Is he going to be the same level of athlete as he was before the injury. We're going to find out at the combine. He can get a little bit too grabby, so if you don't like Joey Porter Jr. getting these DPIs and holdings, I'm not sure Siobhan Revel Jr. is going to be your guy. He can be grabbed once in a while. Wasn't as bad as JPJ at Penn State. But it is a little bit of an issue. And then he can get baited on double moves, all right? So he's very aggressive. He hunts interceptions. So a really good double move can lead to a long touchdown in man coverage if he is on him. But I do have a round one grade on him. He's an excellent, excellent talent. And, I'm not sure if the Steelers are going to be looking for a cornerback here, but I would certainly love Siobhan Revel if they do go corner in round one. Then Mr. Field Yates, also from ESPN, has the Steelers taking Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. We've already talked about Hairston quite a bit on the show already, but this is what Fields had to say about the young kid out of Kentucky, who's a great fit for the Steelers defense. When studying Hairston's 2023 film over the summer, his instincts and feel for the game stood out to me. He has a subtle way of knowing the perfect time to attack and create turnover opportunities. Pittsburgh must continue to add at cornerback with Dante Jackson scheduled for free agency, and Hairston would help the Steelers stay among the top turnover-creating defenses in the NFL. And of course, Field Yates is referring to the Steelers being tied for first in the NFL in turnovers this past year, and Dante Jackson has 5 interceptions that you'd be looking to replace if you decide to move on from Dante. And I am a fan of Maxwell Hairston. He's got long arms, just like Siobhan Revel. He's a bit undersized, so he doesn't have the great size that Siobhan Revel Jr. has, but he's really good in both man and zone coverage. I think he's going to be a day one CB2, and that's what he's going to be for the entirety of his NFL career. I give you guys my full scouting report and my full thoughts on Maxwell Hairston in this video that we put out a couple weeks ago, I think, here. So you guys can check that one out. I'll put the link to that one in the comments and description. Also, make sure to put the chip in the top right of your screen so you guys can check out that video right now. So listen, man, when it comes to cornerbacks, and these ESPN guys certainly feel like cornerback's going to be a top need for the Steelers in the draft, I actually disagree. I think the Steelers are going to address corner in free agency, and I'm not sure Pittsburgh's going to draft a corner in round one. Joey Porter Jr. himself is still developing. He's still a younger corner. I think they're going to want to get a veteran on the other side of him, somebody that's more pro-ready than either Siobhan Revel Jr. or Maxwell Hairston. They're more sure thing. But if the Steelers end up getting either of these gentlemen and they don't address the cornerback position in free agency, I think either one would be a fine fit. So be the GM for me down there in the comment section. Where do you want to find the next number 2 corner here in Pittsburgh? Type FA for free agency or type D if you would rather address this position in the draft. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to talk about our sponsor today at GameTime. And while I'm talking about GameTime, find that pinned comment at the top of the comment section and answer today's pinned question. Now let's have a word from our sponsor here at GameTime, which is the best place for you to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets for live events even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. All you have to do is select one button, the GameTime Picks button at the top of the screen, and GameTime automatically filters through every single ticket in their database for that event to find you the best deals, with the best prices, with the best views, and the best tickets for every single live event that you attend. What I love about the GameTime app is you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing, so you don't get slapped with the crazy fee at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to game time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. It's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. So in the latest CBS mock draft from Ryan Wilson, he has the Steelers taking Jahdae Barron, defensive back out of Texas, and this guy is the versatile Swiss Army knife that Brian Branch was a couple of seasons ago, that Tyke Smith was last year out of Georgia. And, I think that, Barron is a very, very good football player first and foremost, man. The football IQ is off the charts. He reads the quarterback's eyes and zone coverage extremely, extremely well. He's got really good acceleration, and he gets to the spot very, very quickly. So he's got a very good stop-start ability. The versatility is huge. You can play safety, nickel, or even outside corner. I think he's more of a nickel or a safety in the NFL than a true outside guy, but you can ask him to do that in a pinch. And then he's a man-match specialist. So if you play a lot of quarters, you play a lot of cover 6, play a lot of palms coverage, cover 3 match is something the Steelers like to do a lot, cover 7. the Saban type stuff. Johnny Barron's going to be able to do that at a very high level. Now the cons, long speed, some of the burners in the league, he's not going to be able to keep up with. He's going to run most likely in the mid to high 4.4s. And then the hip fluidity, is a little bit stiff, which makes me think he's not going to be a true outside corner in the National Football League. But I have a round 1 grade on him, guys, a late round 1 grade, because I think that he's going to be almost like a Brian Branch type of player, where plays with great instincts. He plays all over the field. He's going to be, a chess piece that can move all over the place. He's going to be a disguise piece, all these different things that we're seeing with positionless defensive football nowadays that the Mike Macdonald defense has really brought. And Brian Branch is living proof that players like this are absolutely valuable enough to take in round 1. Brian was not taken in round 1, but he's certainly a round 1 talent. So I could certainly see Barron as a Brian Branch type of player, playing in the slot, playing at safety, moving him around in different spots. If the Steelers are looking for a Swiss Army knife type of player that they can move all over the formation, I think Barron is the type of player that the Steelers would look at, maybe even more than a true outside corner. Right, maybe they get their outside corner like a DJ Reed or Carlton Davis in free agency, and then they get Johnny Barron to be kind of that Swiss Army knife in the middle of their defense. Like, I could certainly see that being something that plays out for the Pittsburgh Steelers this spring, and I would be 100% okay with that. So today we're talking about mock drafts from other people, but here on Steelers Talk, we have weekly mock drafts of our own, letting you guys know all the players that we think fit best with the black and gold every single week. We also have in-depth prospect analysis like we're giving to you today, and positional rankings as well for all the positions of need for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. We're going to give you guys the most extensive Steelers draft coverage anywhere on the YouTube platform this spring. So if you guys want that, make sure you click that subscribe button and join our family to never miss a video. Then the final mock draft we're going to be talking about today is from PFF's Trevor Sikkema, who has the Steelers taking Isaiah Bond, speed demon wide receiver out of Coop's Longhorns here in the first round. This is what Trevor had to say about this fit for the Steelers. The Steelers' passing offense outside of George Pickens has left a lot to be desired this season. Bond's elite speed could make for a much more diverse passing attack no matter who their quarterback is in 2025. So my scouting report on Mr. Isaiah Bond is I have a round 2 grade on him because, I think there are certain limitations with his game, but he's also got some very, very high-end traits, man. The long speed, I think he's going to run in the 4.3s. It's absolutely phenomenal. The route running is special as well. He can really get in and out of his breaks really well. Head fakes are good. All the different things that you look for in route running, Bond shows those things. The acceleration in and out of his breaks is really, really good. The hands are solid. He doesn't rely on body catches too often. He does catch the ball with his hands and plucks the ball out of the air. The yak ability, of course, with that long speed and the acceleration is going to be pretty darn good. And then he can play outside and inside technically. He played both at Texas this past season. Now the size, he is an undersized receiver. He's not going to be much of a run blocker, so I'm not sure Arthur Smith is going to love that. The catch radius, because he is a smaller guy, isn't going to be phenomenal. And then the release package versus press, if he's playing on the outside, he can get jammed. So that's why I have a round 2 grade on him instead of a round 1 grade on Isaiah Bond. But I think he's a good player. I really do think that if the Steelers get him, you can't really sneeze at that. I think that he's going to be a really good receiver in this league, and he's going to be a starter from day one. But how many smaller wide receivers are the Steelers going to get? I mean, this past year, right, it was like Calvin Austin III. Roman Wilson is the guy they drafted. Scotty frickin' Miller. You got all these tiny wide receivers. I think what the Steelers need is a little bit of size. Whether they keep George Pickens or whether they get a bigger receiver in free agency to replace him, I think you need a little bit more size on the outside than somebody that of Isaiah Bond's build, all right? I think you got Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III as kind of your small kind of receivers in the slot. How about we get somebody like an Emeka Egbuka on the outside, or maybe a Jaden Higgins, somebody a little bit bigger on the outside, a little bit better of a run blocker, all these different things. I think that is the way to go if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers picking a receiver in round 1. So who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comments section which wide receiver do you want the Pittsburgh Steelers to target in the draft? Are you an Egbuka guy? Are you a Luther Burden III guy? Let me know down there in the comments section. Which wide receiver do you want to be a Steeler this year? Appreciate all the support, guys. Click that subscribe button. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to get you guys extensive Steelers draft coverage all throughout the spring. So if you want to become an expert on these players and you want to become an expert on what the Steelers are planning to do before the big day in Green Bay, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, second segment in the books. I don't think we got any more Super Chats.
I don't believe so.
So I think we're good in that regard. But coming up next year, we got Steelers trade candidates. And I'm looking forward to this year's draft, Coop, because it's going to be a big one for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's a huge draft.
As it is every single year, and I think Omar Khan has done a good job in the last 2 years. Maybe not a perfect job, but, to expect perfection, I think is a little bit – I think it's unrealistic to expect perfection, but I think he's done a pretty darn good job. Hopefully Broderick Jones works out. We'll see about how that pick works out, but we'll see how he ends up doing over these next couple of years. But I think that early in the draft, you got to get offensive playmakers. You got to get your running back of the future. You got to get a wide receiver for the future. And then defensively, maybe you get a guy like Jody Barron if you can get him in round 1 to play the nickel.
Absolutely.
There's options for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year.
Yeah, getting Jody Barron in round 1 would be really good. I think the Steelers could kind of use him wherever. If they really want to use him outside, they can. If they want to use him as a nickel, they can.
And we know they like to go to that 3 safety package. So you could even get Beanie Bishop out there as almost like a dime backer, or Corey Trice Jr. depending on the team that you're playing.
Yep.
I think Barron opens up a lot of possibilities for this defense if they end up drafting him. When it comes to the receivers, who's kind of the guy that you're leaning towards that you kind of want the Steelers to take?
I really don't want them to take Isaiah Bond just because, like you said, I think they need more size there. I really like Emeka Egbuka. I like Matthew Golden, the other.
Yeah, Matthew Golden's great. Matthew Golden. I should have mentioned him actually.
Well, he might not be there.
Right now he's a fast riser. The tape on Matthew Golden's film is unbelievable. I think he's better than Isaiah Bond.
I would love Teteroa McMillan, but we're not getting.
Yeah, not going to get T-Mac, unfortunately. Travis Hunter will be off the board.
Yeah.
So I think Luther Burden III is the highest guy on my big board right now. That I think that has at least a somewhat realistic chance.
Too.
Yeah, but I think that with as dynamic as he is in his release package against press, I think that. He's got a little bit higher. I'm not going to say higher upside, but I think he's more pro ready than Isaiah Bond is. I think Bond can get bullied a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But Burden I think is more of a out of the box ready to go Z wide receiver that I think could work here in Pittsburgh for sure. And honestly, I'd say Isaiah Bond is a faster but kind of a Diet Coke version of Luther Burden. That's kind of what I would say right now. All right, we got a Venmo coming in, so I'll send that your way, Mr. Coop. We got a $10 from Mike G coming in as well. We'll get to Mike's $10 super chat and spin the wheel for him here in just a second. And we've got this one. So we still got one more segment to go, guys. We got Steelers trade candidates coming your way here momentarily. We'll get to these super chats, chop it up for a little bit here. Just a second. Mike coming in with a 10. Appreciate your 10. Says, do you think Emeka will be there in the second round?
No.
I don't.
do not.
I think he's, he doesn't have quite as high of a ceiling as some of the other guys in this draft, Coop, but he's such a sure thing, and he's so pro-ready right out of the box that, one of these playoff teams is going to be like, if he's still there at the end of the first round.
They'll feel like they got to steal.
They'll feel like we got to get this guy.
Yep.
So I really, really doubt that Emeka makes it to the second round, especially to the Steelers pick at 52. I don't think he gets outside the top 50. Oh, all right. So what is this? Say something nice about the Ravens. Why would I do that?
It's on the wheel.
Why would we ever do this? Say something mean about the Ravens, more like it.
You got to say something nice.
Fine. I'll say something nice about the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is an okay quarterback. Lamar Jackson Lamar Jackson's all right.
Here's what I would say.
He sucks in the playoffs.
Here's what I would say. Lamar Jackson has been very nice to the Steelers over his career by giving us a bunch of wins against him.
Yeah, but he's won the last 2. We got to start winning against these.
Got to start beating them again.
Got to start beating these Jits again. All right, we got a
the Venmo,
we got a Venmo coming in, so we'll get to that here in just a second. And this one is coming in from our guy and Black Diamond member, Steeli. And he says, I'm picking Egbuka. Right, Coop? LOL. Why would he say right, Coop?
Because he's an Ohio State fan.
Oh, yeah, because they beat your boys.
What a joke.
What a joke indeed, man. Goodness gracious. Ohio State. And then, hey, congratulations, Steeli, on your national championship there.
I won't wish you congratulations.
Yeah, Coop's a little salty still. He'll get over it eventually. You think he'll get over that toss play, that Arthur Smith toss play in that game?
On the 1 yard line?
Yeah, on the 1 yard line, tossing it in shotgun, the worst run play in the history of football. What a play call by Steve Sarkisian.
It's embarrassing.
That play is what got him the massive extension, Coop.
I guess so.
We'll get up your Venmo alert here in just a second here, Steeli, before we get into the next segment. Everybody spam F the Ravens or F Trader Joey in the chat. F the Ravens. F the Ravens. F the Ravens. Joey, get on screen.
The mouth.
Do what you just did to me to them. Hey, Joey. I hate y'all. Oh, Trader Joey, everybody spam F Joey in the chat.
Steel, I am looking for your sticker. I don't know where it is.
Well,
I know it's in here.
Steel Eye, we know your sticker's in there. Just know it's in there. Appreciate you, man. Gary comes in with a 2. And Gary agrees with me here. He says, nice? Why would we be nice to the Baltimore Ravens? Is the other one saying something nice about the Browns? Because honestly, I don't think I could say anything good about the Browns. I honestly don't think I have a single thing to say that's positive against the Browns. I like Matthew Peterson as a guy. How about that?
Petey's a very nice guy.
Petey's a very nice guy. He cheers for the wrong team, though. Gary Frank, $2, says, nice. The rat bastards have a pretty color purple. Yeah, man, they're very stylish. They got the purple in there. Honestly, no, I'm take that back. They're not very stylish, not at all. I mean, you see how the way that Lamar wears the mask thing that he wears, Coop? It's like white, but then he wears it right above his mustache, and it the mustache goes over the mask. Have you seen those? Have you seen
Yes,
Have you seen that? You know what I'm talking about? It looks so bad. I'm sure it keeps him warm, but it just looks so bad, bro. But appreciate you, Gary, with that too. Let's get into the final segment here. If you guys got more questions, we'll chop it up as long as you guys send in those super chats. All right, let's get NFC. Let's get the championship week started off on the right foot here.
Let's do it,
Mr. Coop, with our final segment. Top 5 Steelers trade candidates for 2025 are coming at you right about now. Today on Steelers Talk, I've got the top 5 Steelers players currently on the 2025 roster that the team could consider trading this offseason to save cap space, make room for offensive spending, whatever the case may be. We got a bunch of reasons why these 5 players could potentially be traded by the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. But before we get into the list today, get us started down there in the comment section and let us know which Steeler will surprisingly not be on the team this season. Will it be George Pickens? Will it be somebody else? Let me know down there in the comment section which Steeler from 2024 will surprisingly not be on the team next season. And to all the people that want me to go with Mike Tomlin, I'm sorry, guys. It's not going to happen as I choke on my own spit here. But, Mike Tomlin is not going to be traded. It would have happened by now. Apparently, the Bears called about him, and the Steelers hung up the phone immediately. So I just don't think Mike Tomlin is going to be a legitimate option here. So, no, he is not going to be on today's list. So let's get to the first name here. And I do think this one's unrealistic as well, but at least he's a player. And I do see the reasoning why some people are throwing around the idea of trading TJ Watt this offseason. Now, to be clear, I don't think the Steelers are going to do it. I really, really doubt that a defensive-led culture like the Steelers, which values superstar defensive players like TJ Watt, are going to let him go, all right? I just don't think it's going to happen. He's on the final year of his contract. In my opinion, guys, they're probably going to extend him. I think they're going to make him the highest-paid edge rusher in all of football. This team is massively more successful when he is on the field. You guys have seen the record when he doesn't play in football games. I'm pretty sure in his entire tenure with the Steelers, if he's not playing because of injury, the Steelers don't win that game. I think they're 0-whatever without him on the field. So the Steelers clearly see him as a valuable piece. He's 30 years old, so I think that they're going to give him one more big contract, and they're going to make him the highest-paid edge rusher in football. And if you don't like that, well, I guess that's too bad. But I can see the argument for wanting to trade him away. And most of the people that want to trade TJ Watt away are the people that want to completely break things down, completely embrace a rebuild. And I don't necessarily, say that's a bad idea. I just don't think the Steelers are going to do that. You look at TJ Watt, 30 years old, so he's getting up there. And, I understand the argument where, final year of his contract, you don't want to pay him $34+ million per season on his next deal. And, you can trade him right now while he's still worth a first-round pick or more in a trade. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate this year. And, you still have two good edge rushers to use. You could have Alex Smith and then Nick Herbig be your starting outside linebacker duo next year if you trade TJ Watt. So would I necessarily do it? No, not if I'm going to be trying to win a Super Bowl next year. But do I think the Steelers are going to do it? No, but can I understand the reasoning why some people think it's a good idea if the Steelers want to completely embrace a rebuild? I can at least see the argument, all right? But let me know down there in the comments section. Would you trade TJ Watt in exchange for a first-round pick this year? Type A if you would accept that trade, or type D if you would decline that trade. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know if you accept or decline a first-round pick in exchange for TJ Watt. Another outside linebacker that could feasibly be traded this offseason that I don't think will be traded is Alex Highsmith, all right? And, kind of a lot of the same reasons for the potential of trading TJ Watt apply to Alex Highsmith. And like I said, guys, I think that, them trading Alex Highsmith, who they gave a pretty big contract extension 2 years ago to, is pretty unlikely, all right? I think that the Steelers love the combination of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith because they both play the run very well, and they have the versatility to go out and be a decent coverage player as well. And Highsmith is one of the best versatile outside linebackers in all of football. He's still only 27 years old, brings some really good size to the table as an outside linebacker, so he's good at setting the edge against the run. I think that if you traded him, you could net at least a top 50 draft pick. You might even be able to get a late first-round draft pick for him. And then I think that, if you trade Alex Highsmith, the argument for it is you want to allocate more of your money to the offensive side of the ball. You still have two really good starting outside linebackers in TJ Watt and Nick Herbig if you end up trading Alex Highsmith away. And, I think that that's probably the argument for Alex Smith instead of TJ Watt. But to be clear here, guys, I don't think either is going to get traded because Mike Tomlin really cherishes these guys on either end of the line. So coming up here on Steelers Talk, I got my top 3 2025 trade candidates for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But before we get into that top 3, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Public Rec. And let's be real, guys, wearing uncomfortable clothes just isn't worth it anymore. Why settle for stiff, restricting fabric when you can have something that looks sharp and feels as comfy as your favorite sweats? This year, make the switch to Public Rec, where comfort rules. Public Rec isn't just about the pants, guys. It's about making sure you stay comfortable no matter what your day throws at you. They have so many great style options that are perfect for just hanging around the house, drinking beers on the golf course, or even when you need to impress the boss in the office. Whatever pants you choose, you'll be blown away by how comfortable they are because for a limited time only, our listeners can get 20% off their entire order when you use code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off when you use promo code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. And listen, man, it's more than just pants. I got one of their shirts on right now, super stretchy, super breathable, super warm also in the winter. It's made with premium materials. And then also their pants not only are the best pair of pants that I own, by a wide margin, by the way, because they're breathable as well. They're stretchy. It doesn't really, tighten in there or anything like that. Plus, the tailored options for their pant, the length, and then the waist sizes are perfect for me because I have kind of a weird frame, guys. I'm tall and skinny. I'm 6'6", but I only weigh 170 pounds, so I'm super skinny. So it's really hard for me to find pant sizes that actually fit with my body type. But Public Rec has me covered. They look great. They feel great. And this Public Rec isn't just about the pants, guys. You guys can make your New Year's resolution a comfortable one today. No more pants that pinch, tug, or annoy. For a limited time only, you guys can get 20% off at Public Rec by using code CHAT20 at checkout. Just head on over to publicrec.com and use code CHAT20, and you're all set. Oh, and when they ask you how you found them, be sure to mention our show, Steelers Talk by Chat Sports. It really does help us out. I cannot recommend this company more, guys. Find your perfect fit and never compromise on comfort again. Public Rec, where comfort rules. Number 3 on my list of Steelers trade candidates is Minkah Fitzpatrick. Now, this is another guy here where I'm not sure if he's going to get traded because he is Mike Tomlin's guy. All right, Minkah Fitzpatrick sits in on the weekly defensive coaches meeting. All right, he's essentially a player coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's well respected in the Steelers locker room, and he's very well respected by Mike Tomlin. All right, so I think that the likelihood of him actually getting traded are relatively low because I don't think Tomlin would sign off on that. But I do think a trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick, especially if you get a decent draft pick in exchange for him, isn't necessarily a bad idea. You guys can take a look here at his quarterback ratings against, and they're not very good, guys. 53.7 back in 2019, 19.2 back in 2020. Phenomenal numbers, all right? You can see that, throughout that 2019 to about 2022 range, he was phenomenal. But then these last two seasons, you've seen a consistent regression, 83.6 in 2023, followed by a 129.4 this past season. Then you look at the PFF grades, and you see something very similar. All right, he was phenomenal in 2019 to 2022 range. 2021 had a little bit of an off year in terms of the PFF grading, but then these last 2 years, a 73.3 in 2023, followed by a 65.2 in 2024. So you can see a consistent regression as Minkah continues to get older, and the physical gifts that made him a special player back in the day continue to dwindle. So to be clear, I still think Minkah Fitzpatrick's a good player. All right, I think that teams generally stay away from him in the middle of the field because he is a dynamic player in that regard. And, I think that, if he was on the Steelers next year on like a restructured deal, whatever the case may be, I think that would be a good thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a good leader. He knows what he's doing. He's one of the most instinctual players I've ever seen. But I think it begs the question, is he really an elite player anymore? I think the answer to that question is no. I think Deshaun Elliott, his strong safety, actually made more high-impact plays during the year than Minkah did. And despite that, you look at the cap hits that are upcoming for Minkah in the final 2 years of his deal. I mean, this is the highest paid number in the NFL. 22.3 in 2025 and 24.4 in 2026. Like, is Minkah Fitzpatrick playing at the elite level where he's worth top money at the safety position for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward? I'm not sure if that's the case anymore, if I'm being completely honest with you. I love Minkah as a player, but my take on him is that if I could get a decent, mid-round draft pick in exchange for him, and I can get that $22 million in cap space back to me for this season, and I can go out and get a replacement for him at free safety this offseason, I would consider doing that. I really, really would. I love what Minkah brings to the table, but $22+ million over the next 2 years for a safety that's no longer producing at an elite level, I think is not necessarily the best way for the Steelers to allocate their financial resources. And if you have that extra money, at your disposal, you guys can get a pretty decent free safety option here. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, Justin Simmons still had a pretty decent season this year with the Atlanta Falcons. Javon Holland is a younger guy that's really been playing well for the Miami Dolphins, who's going to be a free agent. He's going to get a bag. And Jordan Poyer has been a solid veteran as well. And if you don't like any of the free agency options, you can get one of the top safeties in the draft with that draft pick you get in exchange for Minkah. Malachi Starks would be a first-round guy, but he's a special talent, man. Xavier Watts, similar way. I think that he's going to be a special playmaker as well in the league. He played great for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish this year. Then Sebastian Castro and Kevin Winston Jr. are two guys in the Big Ten that I also think are going to be day one starters at free safety in the National Football League. So I think that there are ways to replace Minkah Fitzpatrick. And, I think if you're going to trade away one of your defensive pieces to reallocate some of these funds to the offense, I think Minkah is the one that makes the most sense. So you tell me down there in the comments section, would you trade Minkah Fitzpatrick in exchange for a third-round pick? Give me a yes or a no down there in the comments section. And then if you replace Minkah, let me know the safety that you would like to see replace him. Number 2 on my list is Larry Ogunjobi. And, I think the Steelers are in a position here where I would like to see them trade Larry O if they can get something for him. Because personally, I have somebody in mind that I want to play his position. Right now, Larry Ogunjobi plays the 5 technique spot on the Steelers defensive line. But, my vision for the 2025 Steelers is to put Keanu Benton in that spot where he is being more of a penetrator on the defensive line, where right now Keanu Benton is stuck as the nose tackle at just over 300 pounds. He has to take on double teams consistently. And, because of that, he's not really allowed to be the disruptive interior pass rusher that really he has the potential to be. I think he could be one of the best interior pass rushers in all of football, but because the Steelers put him at nose tackle and he's taken on all those double teams, he's more of a run stuffer in a run stuffing role. I think that the Steelers would benefit from getting a true nose tackle and then moving Keanu Benton to the 5 technique. But hey, if you're moving Larry Ogunjobi to a rotational spot next year, a $10.5 million cap hit for a rotational player is quite hefty. So, could they, keep Larry O on at that cap hit? Sure, they potentially could. Maybe they restructure him. And they lower that cap hit a little bit. But I think that, trading him could save $7 million in cap space for this football team, and I think that'd be beneficial. All right, I think the Steelers want to make sure they get the right quarterback. They want to make a splash at corner this free agency. I think they want to make a splash on the free agency market. And that extra $7 million, if you can get like a 6th or 7th round draft pick in exchange for Larry Ogunjobi, I think would be more than worth it for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The number 1 on my list, the most likely Steeler to be traded this offseason is, yes, George Pickens. I do believe the smoke around a potential Pickens trade is real. And I think that the way that it's going to work here, guys, is I think the Steelers want to keep Pickens, but only if they don't have to sign him to an extension. I think they want to play out his rookie contract, but I think that George Pickens is going to want the extension this offseason. I don't think he wants to just play with the specter of just playing on his final year of his contract. I think he wants to be locked up, and I don't think the Steelers are going to want to give him the money that he wants to get, which is probably going to be $28+ million per season to be this team's number 1 receiver. So I don't think these two are going to come to an agreement. I think eventually Pickens is going to say, if you're not going to extend me, trade me elsewhere. And I think the Steelers are probably getting ready to move on from George Pickens, and I think they'll oblige that request. But just to be clear here, guys, if Pittsburgh can work something out with George Pickens where he accepts the deal to play on the final year of his contract without an extension, if his punctuality issues get cleaned up, if he becomes more of a leader in the locker room, all these different things. I would love for George Pickens to be even a Steeler for life, all right? I love his talent. I love watching him play, but at the end of the day, you got to fill your locker room with people that do the right things consistently, and according to the reports coming out of Pittsburgh, that has not been George Pickens the first 3 years of his career. So I think what the plan is for the Steelers here is to trade away George Pickens for the best draft pick they possibly can. They're going to sign some sort of veteran to be their number 1 wide receiver in free agency next season, and then they're going to draft a wide receiver either in round 1 or round 2 of the NFL draft to be kind of the future at the wide receiver position for this football team moving forward, and that's going to be the plan. And then they're going to have Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson as kind of supplementary 3rd and 4th wide receiver options outside of the top 2. So the top free agents, wide receivers, I think the Steelers are going to be keeping their eye on. T. Higgins, a little bit unlikely in my opinion. I don't know if the Steelers are going to pay T. Higgins the money that he wants. Chris Godwin's an interesting one. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, would be an interesting one as well. And then Stephon Diggs and Amari Cooper are also 2 other free agency options that will be out there as well. But honestly, I don't like those guys as much as options. Then you get into the draft, and these are my top 6 wide receivers in the class. I think that it starts with Luther Burden III in terms of guys that could realistically make it to the Steelers pick. I love Matthew Golden out of Texas as well, and I think Emeka Egbuka and Jaden Higgins bring some good size, good run blocking to the table that I think could certainly be beneficial for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025 and beyond. So pick your combo for me down there in the comment section. Who do you want to be the Steelers wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 duo for the 2025 season? Do you want George Pickens and Emeka Egbuka? Do you want Devontae Adams and Luther Burden III? What would be your ideal wide receiver duo in Pittsburgh between a free agent, a veteran, or George Pickens, or a rookie in the draft? Let me know down there in the comment section your ideal wide receiver duo, and that'll be it for today's show, guys. I really do appreciate you guys sticking with me here to the very end. Let me know your thoughts on today's list down there in the comment section. Click that subscribe button to never miss a video. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, Coop, so our live segments are out for the day. So your thoughts on that last segment here before we wrap things up?
I think the most tradable of all of those is probably Larry Ogunjobi, and I think
you think teams would want to trade for him?
That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Does he have a market? Like, that's the most beneficial to the Steelers, but does he have a market? I'm not so sure, but I think he'd be the most replaceable because you could just move Benton to his position, and then you could grab another nose.
Yeah, you can sign another nose. There's going to be some good options veteran-wise, and you can also draft another one if you really want to.
Larry's a vet. I mean, it's not like he has a huge amount of upside. You know what he is, and that's a fine player.
Yeah, and he's fine.
He's fine, but that's all he is.
Yeah, and I think that he regressed a little bit this year on film compared to what he's shown in recent seasons, and he's had injuries pile up. And I'm just not sure, if the plan is to move Keanu Benton to more of a pass rushing, penetrating type role, which is what I think they should do with a talent like that. I just don't know how much sense it makes to keep Larry at a $10.5 million cap hit this year. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens along the defensive line this year.
Do you think he's a potential cut candidate?
Yeah, he's absolutely a cut candidate.
Yeah.
I think that if they can't trade him, and they need that extra money. I think it's still around $7 million if they cut him, even pre-June 1st. So he's a very cuttable player if the Steelers want to move on from him. And he's been a starter with this team for multiple seasons at this point. But honestly, he didn't really splash all that much in 2024.
Yeah.
So I think that I think there's a decent chance he's not back next year. And we'll see what happens. But I think that the Steelers should be looking to transition Keanu Benton to a penetrating defensive tackle role. And, I think that Larry Ogunjobi has regressed, and I think it's time to move on.
I'm with you there as well. And Keanu suits that 5-tech role better.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. So I appreciate all of your guys' support. We'll put a shot clock on here. Can we go 2-minute shot clock? Last call here. Last call for questions, for comments. We'll let the clock run out, and then we'll get to the rest of the Super Chats today. And then if the clock runs out and we don't have any more Super Chats, we'll wrap up the show. How about that? So Coop's going to put up a 2-minute shot clock up on screen. And if you guys still want to keep things going, if you want to keep the live show going, just send in those Super Chats, send in your questions, send in your comments, send in your ideas, and we can talk some Steelers football here on a Thursday. I want to give a shout-out to all the real ones in this chat room right now. We got John Stevenson, Patriot Watch USA, Diehard Steelers, Ryan, Matt Burton says, bring in Adams and a draft pick. Doesn't have to be a high one, 4th rounder. I disagree with that, Matt. I think you want to go high draft pick just because you want to find somebody for the future, right? Devontae Adams, I think, I think that's maybe my preferred option to be the number 1 receiver for Pittsburgh next year. But he is getting older, right? So what's the plan for the future? Is Roman Wilson going to be the number 1 receiver here in Pittsburgh? Because Calvin Austin, I don't think so. So I think you want to get a guy in the first couple rounds here, somebody that could hopefully grow into that number 1 receiver role moving forward. Pizza's goated here, says he would love Higgins or Godwin, or both would be amazing. I don't think they're going to get both.
They won't get both.
I think that Higgins fits the offense a little bit more, but Godwin I would be happy with Godwin. He's phenomenal in the slot. But the thing about Godwin is that I think the Steelers already have their slot specialist. I think that their vision for Roman Wilson is he's eventually going to be their slot specialist. And I don't know if they want to get a guy like Godwin who plays a very similar role. We got Robert Rolden here, Reed. We've got Ryan Nagatu. Mike G is in here. Troy Philippabuga is in here. What's up, Troy? Got Pickens Burner. And how do you feel about trading a defensive piece this offseason, Coop?
Depends on what it is. Like
what did you think about Minka, for example? I actually think it makes a lot of sense to trade Minka if you can find a partner. I just don't know if Mike Tomlin's ever going to do it.
I was going to say, Minka's like the leader of the defense, more or less.
I would say Cam Hayward he's the defensive captain, but Minka is like a coach out there. He is an extension on the field of Mike Tomlin. He like I said, he sits in on the defensive team or coaches meeting every week.
If the Steelers were to trade a defensive piece, I think I would trade one of either Nick Herbig or Alex Highsmith.
I don't think it makes sense to trade Nick Herbig just because he's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, that's fair.
Highsmith I would be okay with if you get a first-round pick.
Yeah.
But, I think the Steelers really pride themselves on having that elite edge rusher trio.
They do. They absolutely do.
And another thing that they really cherish is TJ and Alex's ability to go out in coverage as edge rushers. That's something you just don't see every day, and that's why they locked both of these guys up, is because they have a very specific skill set that helps them be more multiple. So we just ran out of time here, guys. Thank you for everybody that super chatted today. We still got 100 people in the chat. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for stopping by this afternoon. We'll be back next week on Monday for the next Steelers Talk live show. And we've got extensive Steelers coverage all throughout the weekend. So I appreciate you guys. Enjoy the playoff football games on Sunday, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Until next time, here we go, Steelers.
Peace.